Lady, how are you? Yes, please unmute yourself, Vidhi. Yes, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, so today we will be beginning with the lesson, the address. Open page number 10. Page number 10 of snapshots. Okay. Now, see, this is a short story about an account of a girl. Okay, of a girl. She is the central character of the story, and she describes her feelings and emotions about after the war, when she went to take her belongings from her mother's acquaintance. Okay, and you will find that this story deals with the human emotions, that how they are affected after the war. Okay, war happens, things end, but the effect of that is everlasting. It is everlasting, and you will find that she goes to the house of that woman, Mrs. Dorling, and she wants to acquire all the possessions which her mother had given to Mrs. Dorling. And the lady, initially she refuses to recognize her, and then but she tries it for the second time, and when she sees those things, she feels very uncomfortable. She thought her memories are associated with it, and she will want to have it. But what happens when she sees that the things are not kept properly, they are arranged in a distasteful manner, she becomes upset, and then she decides to leave the place and to forget those things forever. So this is a story about emotion, about it is an emotional journey of the central character, and she describes about her feelings after she wants to associate with her memories, but when she actually sees the old things which is related to her mother, because she misses her mother, which is who is no more. So when she in reality sees those things, she decides to forget them forever. Okay, we will read it line by line now. Now, it begins with a, see, it is, she's asking, do you still know me? I asked. So she has gone to the address. The story is titled The Address because there is an address provided by her mother to the central character, to her daughter, and she goes there. So that's how it has started. Do you still know me? I asked. The woman looked at me searchingly. She had opened the door a chink. I came closer and stood on the step. No, I don't know you. I am Mrs. S.'s daughter. So see, the introduction, this is just, the story has begun in a casual manner, and she's asking the lady who has opened a door, just a chink. Just a chink means a very narrow opening. Okay, and she has just opened the door. It is a very narrow opening, and then she is looking. That lady is looking at the girl, and she is observing the girl, and then she's asking me, she's asking the lady that, do you know me? Do you recognize me? I am Mrs. S. Now her mother's name is referred to as S. So she just tells that I am Mrs. S.'s daughter, and then what she does, she held her hand on the door as though she wanted to prevent it opening any further, so that the lady is not directly rude to her, but her actions are very rude. Okay, she just blocks the door with her hand, and she doesn't want her to enter her house, and also she doesn't want her to see what are the things that are kept inside her house. Her face gave absolutely no sign of recognition. She kept staring me in silence. Please underline this line. She kept staring at me in silence. So when the girl was studying her face, because she was also not very sure of herself. So she just asked her that, do you recognize me? And then she saw that she's just looking at her in silence. Perhaps I was mistaken. So she also got confused. She thought that maybe I am mistaken. I have arrived at a wrong place. I must leave the place. I thought perhaps it isn't her. I had seen her only once, fleetingly, and that was years ago. So she says that I saw that lady quite long back, and that too for a very short while. So she was also not able to recognize the lady, and because the lady was behaving in such a way, so she thought that she has arrived at a wrong place, at a wrong address. I thought perhaps it isn't her. I had seen her only once fleetingly, and that was years ago. It was most probable that I had rung the wrong bell. This line also you underline. So now she is thinking to herself that maybe she has come to a wrong address and she has rung the wrong bell. The woman let go of the door and stepped to the side. She was wearing my mother's green knitted cardigan. This line also you underline. Then finally, woman came out, and then she could see that she was wearing a green sweater, which was hand knitted, and that was her mother's. Now she was absolutely sure that this lady is the same lady whom she had wanted to meet and had come from so far to just meet her. Okay, because she was wearing her mother's cardigan. The wooden buttons were rather pale from washing. She saw that I was looking at the cardigan and half hid herself again behind the door. But now I knew that I was right. This line also you underline, but now I knew that I was right. So what happened when the lady realized that the girl is staring at the cardigan? She hid herself. Okay, and then now she was absolutely sure that she had arrived to the right address. Okay, are you following with me?
Yes.
Well, you knew my mother, I asked. Have you come back? Said the woman. I thought that no one had come back. Underline this line also. So now the girl approaches directly and says that, oh, so you knew my mother. And now the lady cannot deny. So she says that she doesn't accept it directly, but she says that, oh, have you come back? Now here come back doesn't mean that she has arrived. Here come back means she is still alive, because the lady thought that during the war the family is no more. Then she tells that yes, the family was no more, only she was alive. I thought that no one had come back. Here it means that everybody is dead, but then she says that only me. So she says that only I have arrived. A door opened and closed in the passage behind her. A musty smell emerged. So she was standing there, and then the door opened and closed, and she could smell something very strange, damp smell. When something is wet, and then a very strange and stale, damp type of smell comes. So that is what emerged from the passage behind her. And then she says, I regret, I cannot do anything for you. So what happens? The lady says that I am so sorry, I will not be able to do anything for you. Okay, underline this line also. I regret, I cannot do anything for you. I have come here specially on the train. I wanted to talk to you for a moment. So what happens? Then she says that, see, please don't say like this, because I have traveled all the way on the train and I want to just talk to you for a moment. But the lady says, it is not convenient for me now, said the woman. I can't see you. I can't see you another time. So she says that, see, I'm not free now. I'm not comfortable. I cannot talk to you now. Maybe some other time. She nodded and cautiously closed the door as though no one inside the house should be disturbed. So that lady was very alert. Her behavior, her mannerisms, you can see is creating disturbance in the mind of the readers. So what happened? She just nodded, and then she very cautiously, very carefully, she's closing the door as if no one in the house should know that someone has arrived. Okay. I stood there where I was on the step. The curtain in front of the bay window moved. So what happened? She saw that she closed the door, she shut the door, and she was standing there. And then she saw that there was a bay window. Okay, in previous times, houses where bay window means a window that is built to project outside from the wall. Okay, from outside towards the wall. It moved. The curtain there moved, and someone stared at me and would then have asked what I wanted. Oh, nothing. The woman would have said it was nothing. So she was imagining standing standing at the doorstep, that if someone inside the house might have asked that why have I come and what do I need, and the woman must have answered nothing. Okay, up till here clear?
Yes.
I looked at the nameplate again. So again, she saw the nameplate. Dorling, it said. Underline the name Dorling in black letters on white enamel, and on the jab, a bit higher, the number plate, number 46. So again, she was standing there because she didn't know what to do. She was confused. She wanted to see her mother's belongings, and she was very eager. She was very much excited because all these brought her memories related to her mother. But then when the lady shut the door, she was standing there and staring at the nameplate, which was written in black and white letters on white enamel, and the number was also there. Then she remembers how this address was given to her. Okay, as you read along, you will find that the story moves back to flashback, and the writer tells us that how she came to know about the address and Mrs. Dodley. As I walked slowly back to the station, I thought about my mother who had given me the address years ago. So then she decided that if the lady is not interested, let me go back. And she is walking back to the station. She is walking slowly. Why she is walking slowly? Because still she is in the past memories. She's just thinking about those memories, and she's just walking very casually, very slowly. And then she remembers how her mother had given her the address, this particular address, years ago. It had been in the first half of the war, underline this line, and then we are introduced that yes, it was during the war. I was home for a few days, and it struck me immediately that something or the other about the rooms had changed. I missed various things. So she tells us that it was the first half of the war, and she came back from somewhere, and then she saw that the rooms had changed. Her house was appearing changed to her, and there were many things which were missing. My mother was surprised I should have noticed so quickly. And when she told these things to her mother was surprised that how quickly she could notice the change. Then she told me about Mrs. Dorling. I had never heard of her, but apparently she was an old acquaintance of my mother whom she hadn't seen for years. She had suddenly turned up and renewed their contact. Since then, she had come regularly. So that was the moment when her mother told the daughter, the central character, that about Mrs. Dodling. Okay, and they were not in touch for quite a long, and then suddenly she came and their contact was renewed, and then she visited to their house regularly. Okay, clear? This paragraph also clear?
Yes.
Every time she leaves here, she takes something home with her. Underline this line. So then her mother informs that whenever she comes, nowadays she's coming frequently, and as many times as she comes, she takes with lot many belongings of there to her house. Okay, and the reason was that she was trying to save those things. Okay, she took all the table silver in one go, and then the antique plates that hung there. She had trouble lugging those large vases, and I'm worried she got a crick in her back from the crockery. My mother shook her head pityingly. I would never have dared ask her. She suggested it to me herself. Then they were talking, and then the mother told them, we are also given the information that the lady used to come frequently and used to carry back certain things like the table silver, antique plates, some large vases, and her mother was worried because carrying such heavy things might hurt her back. And then she did not ask much to her mother because she told that I might disturb her. Okay, she even insisted she wanted to save all my nice things. If we were to leave here, we shall lose everything. So this also you mark. So that lady suggested that she should take all the nice things with her because it was wartime, and if they had to leave suddenly, they will lose all their beautiful things. So she just took them with her. Okay. Have you agreed with her that she should keep everything? So now the girl is curious and she asks her mother that, have you, like she can keep everything. Are you ready with that? I asked. As if that's necessary, my mother cried. It would simply be an insult to talk like that. So from this, we can understand her mother was a very refined lady, and the girl also, the daughter also. So her mother says that asking such things and talking in this manner is not suitable. It is rude. So we should not talk like that, and think about the risk she is running. So she says that we should not think about ourselves. You think the risk which she is running. Each time she goes out of our door with a full suitcase or a bag. So she is taking such a heavy things and such a lot of things, and every time she is coming, she is carrying a bag full of things. So that is quite risky. Okay. My mother seemed to notice that I was not entirely convinced. She looked at me reprovingly, and after that, we spoke no more about it. So, what happened? The writer, the central character, the daughter, was not convinced that the lady is coming to their house and taking bag full of things. She was not convinced, but her mother did not say anything. She just glanced at her in a like, see, when the mothers, they don't scold, but they just look in that strict manner. So she also just looked at her daughter in a very strict way, and then they did not talk about this anymore. Meanwhile, I had arrived at the station without having paid much attention to the things on the way. So these were the things, these were the thoughts she was having all along while she was walking to the station. And then she had arrived to the station, and she tells that she doesn't. What happens? She doesn't pay attention to much of the things that she sees along the way, because as such she see, she is very emotional person. She is missing her mother, but she doesn't want to get carried away from the past memories. So she is not paying much attention. I was walking in familiar places again for the first time since the war, but I did not want to go further than was necessary. So all these lines are very important. This entire paragraph is important. She says that she was walking with the familiar places. Before the war, she had walked all these streets and places, but then she doesn't want to go deep into it. Why? Because she doesn't want to get disturbed, because these were the memories which used to keep haunting her. I didn't want to upset myself with the sights of streets and houses full of memories from a precious time. So she had a very precious time previously, and she didn't want to be upset getting deep into those things. So she did not pay much attention, and she returned to the station without looking much here and there. In the train back, I saw Mrs. Darling in front of me again, as I had the first time I met her. So here, the girl, she describes Mrs. Darling and tells us, the readers are told about Mrs. Darling, her appearance, and how she had met her for the first time. Again, you will find the story travels to the flashback. In the train back, I saw Mrs. Darling in front of me again, as I had the first time I met her. Now she tells, it was the morning after the day my mother had told me about her. I had got up late, and coming downstairs, I saw my mother about to see someone out, a woman with a broad back. Okay, so what happens? She describes Mrs. Darling as a woman with a broad back. And she tells the readers are informed that how she had met Mrs. Darling for the first time. There is my daughter, said my mother. So the mother introduced both of them. She beckoned to me. The woman nodded and picked up the suitcase under the coat rack. She wore a brown coat and a shapeless hat. So that is how they were introduced, and the description of the lady is given, what she was wearing, how did she appear, and then, does she live far away? So the girl asked that, does she live far away? Seeing the difficulty she had going out of the house with a heavy case. So it was very difficult for her to carry that heavy baggage. So the girl asked her mother that, is she staying far away? Then the mother gives the address. So that, see, the story is titled as address because everywhere we are told the address is talked about. So again, the address is given by her mother to the daughter. And what is the address? Please underline. In Marconi Street, said my mother, number 46, and asked her to remember that. So that